Welcome, friends. I'm Black Flag Civilian, and ripping the Benjamin can get you killed, but not for the reason you might think. If you're here, you've probably thought about your rifle's sound signature before. And you should. Sound gives away your position. That's why a lot of us run suppressors on our guns. Reducing the report of your rifle helps you stay hidden from potential adversaries. But sound's not the only thing that can blow your cover. These days, night vision isn't just for elite units of government goons. It's in the hands of regular folks. So you've also got to think about your light signature. At night, light is often the first and most obvious thing to give you away. And the worst part, you won't even know you've been spotted until it's too late. If someone sees you ND your rifle light from across the field, they'll have all the time in the world to line up their shot, if that's what they intend to do. The solution? Light discipline. Simply put, light discipline means controlling when, where, and how you use your light. You have to be intentional. Avoid things like checking your phone out of boredom, or ripping your vape because you do it without even thinking at this point. In low light environments, every bit of light you put out is a signal, and you'd be surprised how far that signal can be recognized. In this video, we're going to look at footage of common light-producing activities under analog night vision. Things you might do without even thinking, like lighting a cigarette or using your radio. We'll show you how each one looks under nods, at different distances, so one day, you can make an informed decision on whether it's worth it to check that notification or light that campfire.
What are you doing? Put it out, you fools! Put it out!
Let's head back into my workshop so I can show you my night vision recording setup. Then we'll head back out here into the field to do the test.
Alright, quick note on the setup so you know what you're seeing. This footage was shot through a Gen 2 Plus green phosphor tube in an NVM14 housing, using an iPhone 15 Pro Max and a 3D printed adapter. Despite the Gen 2 Plus label, the best spec sheet I found puts this tube at around 1000 FOM, very low end by 2025 standards. Let me put together the whole kit so you can see what it actually looks like. And there you have it. Here is our night vision recording device. I'll turn the lights out so you can see what it looks like here in the workshop. I've got the focus as close as I can, and we're in business. I think we're ready to head out to the field for testing.
All right, friends, we are all set up to record footage of these common light-producing activities. While you watch, think about your own habits in the field. Are you giving off more light than you realize? How can you operate with better light discipline? We're going to show you footage of every activity at 100, 200, and 400 yards. That way you can see for yourself just how much risk is associated with each activity. Our first test is cell phones. We're going to start with a cell phone set to minimum brightness, and then get some footage of a cell phone set to maximum brightness. That way we can capture the whole range of what a cell phone looks like through nods.
Editing Black Flag Civilian here. Some of the 100-yard clips look brighter than the others. Turns out I started filming about 20 minutes before full dark. No worries, however, it won't affect the takeaways. This one caught me off guard from the jump. I expected the screen glow to punch out to 400 yards, but it didn't. For context, the phone is turned completely away from the night vision, so what you're seeing here is the backlight reflecting off my chest. At 100 yards, there's a faint glow, circled here, but beyond that, it vanishes. Nothing at 200, nothing at 400. Angle really is everything. If the screen were facing even slightly toward the viewer, it would be a whole different outcome. Here's the phone again, now at maximum brightness. Same setup, it's facing me and the glow is reflecting off my upper body, but now it's way more obvious. So here's lesson 1. If you're trying to stay under the radar, turn your phone brightness all the way down. It makes a real difference. And here we have a Bic lighter in all its glory. And yeah, it's wild how far you can spot this thing under nods. I didn't have it in me when I filmed this, but I bet it would show up if I hiked out and did this test at 1,000 yards or more. You can see the flame flickering in the wind. I tried to cup it with my hands, but it still blew out once or twice. Sorry, Mom, I lit up for the viewers. I hated every second of it, but I think it shows something useful. Watch how the glow brightens as I take a drag, then fades as I lower it. That's a pattern you can recognize from a long way off. Smoking, and our next entry, vaping, can be serious liabilities in terms of light discipline. Let it be the reason you quit. Alright, as promised, here's the vape. Just a single tiny LED, and it still lights you up. Less than the cigarette, sure, but not by much. This is why we test. Even one dot of light can be visible for hundreds of yards under night vision. Thankfully, this one's an easy fix. A piece of tape can make the difference between staying hidden and lighting yourself up. This is a small USB power bank with a digital readout showing the charge percentage. Again, a minuscule display, and not even terribly bright to the naked eye, but see how obvious it is when it faces the night vision? Again, this can be mitigated with a little tape, but it's worth testing your gear to make sure that you catch this stuff now, before it matters. Now we're looking at a cheap, off-brand headlamp running on high. Pretty basic kit, but as you can see, it's in a whole different category. A bright white beam like this can be seen from any distance through night vision, as long as there's a clear line of sight. Now, we've got the same headlamp on low. It's definitely dimmer, but still plainly visible through night vision, even at 400 yards and well beyond that. And look, I get it. Most people don't have night vision, and that's all right. If you're stuck using a headlamp or a flashlight, just be conscious of the trade-offs. You're not doomed if you don't have nods, but you do need to understand your light signature and plan accordingly. Red utility lights have a reputation for being low vis, and maybe that's true compared to white light. But as you can see, they're still very obvious under night vision, even out to several hundred yards. One weird detail I noticed, the red light looks almost identical at every distance. No clue why. Might be worth testing at longer ranges just to see if that holds. What matters here is white light or red light, it stands out. Here I'm holding a Baofeng radio facing me, just like with the cell phone test. You're mostly seeing the screen light bounce off my upper torso and reflect back to the night vision. At 100 yards, it's faintly visible. Beyond that, not much. But here's the important part. If that screen were angled toward the nods, even slightly, it would stand out like a spotlight. So tuck your radio in, or better yet, cover the screen when you operate it. Here's a chem light, classic glow stick. I don't actually use these in the field, but I threw one in for this test just to see how it looks under nods at distance. The takeaway? The light rolls off slowly with distance, but it's constant, omnidirectional, and lasts all night. This makes it great for marking rooms, but terrible if you're trying to stay hidden. Next up, the camp stove. I expected this to glow like a lantern, but since it burns so hot, it didn't cast much visible light to the naked eye. Under nods, still noticeable, but honestly not as bad as I expected. If this were thermal, it would be a very different story, but that's a different video. A windscreen could probably cut the signature even more, and chances are you already carry one. That said, if you're in a high-risk scenario, maybe save the warm meals for later. Stick to protein bars and granola. I was a little hesitant to run this test. Bright lights can damage night vision tubes. But since this is a cheap, low-spec tube, it actually held up okay. I only got a temporary blemish. That said, this was hands down the most aggressive light signature of the entire video. The moment the Streamlight RM2 kicks on, the halos bloom hard, and they're directional. That tells you not just that someone is out there, but exactly where they are. Halos are not a good thing as they obscure your view through night vision, but it at least helps to demonstrate how bright, directional lights can be a real liability. ND your rifle light at your own risk. Last up, 5.56 rounds fired from a 16-inch barrel with an A2 birdcage. This is not a suppressed rifle, and yet the muzzle signature was brief and fairly mild. I wish I had a shorter barrel or pistol length gun to compare here. That might have been spicier. Still, this highlights something worth noting. In a chaotic, high-stress environment, brief flashes like this could be easy to miss, especially if you're already disoriented. Certainly not invisible, but it's more subtle than most people would expect.
All right, you saw the footage. Some of this stuff barely registers, and other stuff lights you up like a Christmas tree. The takeaway here isn't to never smoke and never check your phone again. It's to understand the risk. Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. But either way, it should be your conscious decision, not something you accidentally stumble into out of habit or laziness. There's no way to make yourself invisible, but you don't need to be a walking lighthouse either. This video has been relatively lighthearted by Black Flag civilian standards, but I do want to get serious for a moment. Staying hidden isn't about fear. It's about being smart. As civilians, we don't have air support. We don't have emergency exfil. We don't have a base staffed with combat trauma doctors. All we've got are the skills of the people we roll with, and if we develop the relationships ahead of time, which we should, the skills of the people in our community. Unless we're defending our homes or our neighborhood from real, imminent, violent threats, it's almost always in our interest to avoid a gunfight. And if you somehow do find yourself in a gunfight, the smartest thing is to break contact as soon as possible. Our goal is to protect one another, not harm others. Never forget that. And that's it for now. If there's some other activity you'd like to see under nods, leave a comment below, and maybe we'll do a part 2 down the road. Anyway, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and share it with the rest of your crew. Until next time, take care of each other.